What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host, Colonel and most handsome dad, Garrett Morlang. And here in the virtual studio with me is the king of video games and pocket poppy, Adrian Homeboy Holmes. What's up, Adrian?
What's going on, my man? How you feeling? How you living? I'm doing good.
Right. Doing good. Good. I'm glad you're doing good. How was your week, your weekend? I don't know. You do anything special? Anything exciting happen?
My weekend was good. Hung out with my dad up at the Sonoma Raceway, which out here is like the
I saw.
How would you say
Instagram.
the stadium for like where NASCAR and like
I know Sonoma
National
very
Hot
well.
Rod.
I grew up watching NASCAR. I know Sonoma Raceway.
Okay. Yeah, so I hung out with my old man up there, and we were watching some drag races. So that was a pretty neat way to spend my Saturday.
Sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah, well, it was a pretty uneventful week. I mean, it was busy leading up, which I talked about last week. I was working on some projects for some businesses downtown for Comic-Con. And Saturday, I did get to go see some of my work. That felt cool.
I was just getting ready to say, you don't want to talk about the fact that you saw the fruits of your labor firsthand?
I know. Yeah, I know. It's so bizarre. I was telling you before the episode, but like anything I've ever created has always been digital, whether it's video, whether it's a podcast, whether it's, I don't know, the graphic design stuff, web design. Everything I'd make like lives and dies on a computer screen, you know? And so it's so bizarre to see like print physical things that I made in person, like posters and menus and, you know, what, like random stuff down there at some of the restaurants I was working with. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, this is real. Like between that and then the merch that we launched earlier this month, which you should go check out, sgbstore.com. It's incredible. We are also commenting just before the show about how good the fit is, because so many times
they came out so good.
You get a shirt and it's just like it's a weird oblong shape, or like this doesn't fit, or too boxy for guys. I feel like that's usually the thing for guy shirts. It's just like a box. Like it's just like this doesn't fit anyone. Like it's either too wide, too tall. Like what's going on? It fits really good, really soft, really high quality. So sgbstore.com. You should go pick it up. But with the going to see that Saturday night, I'm like, this is so cool. Like something I made, I can touch it. Like I literally went up to the poster and just put my hand on it. The hostess was probably looking at me like, what the heck is wrong with you, dude?
My baby, my
I
son.
made this. This is mine. It was very, very cool. And of course, we were walking through Gaslamp, which on a Saturday night is already rowdy. Let me tell you,
right?
Comic-Con. Saturday night with Comic-Con going on,
going nuts.
Was just off the wall, bonkers crazy. So many people, all sorts of vendors, crazy stuff going on. People dancing and going like all cosplaying, costumed up. It was just chaos down there. It was fun. It was fun. Just
I was gonna say good chaos. Good
chaos for the most part. There's only, I only saw a couple ambulances go by at one point. It was fine.
Yeah. You know, might have been a little musty, as is any nerd-based convention, but they mean well.
Yep. But yeah, so it was a good time. Didn't get to go to actual Comic-Con, but just to see like the aura around it, you know, basically like experience just like the Comic-Con stink coming off of it. Not in a bad way.
You look at the convention center, you just see like the lines, the odor lines coming out of it.
Stink lines coming off it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, look at those nerds, those smelly nerds. This is the first sunshine they've seen since last Comic-Con.
I was gonna say since last year. Yep.
When they were in San Diego last year.
Yep.
Oh man. Yep. Good times. I should also not forget to introduce our heavyweight bot casting champion of the world, Super Gamer Bot. You will hear more from them later on in the show here during a mailbag segment, but can't forget him. Important part of the team.
Yep.
All right, today we're going to be talking about PSVR2's new lease on life, kinda. Humble Games layoff entire team. That's a wild story we're going to talk about. And SAG-AFTRA goes on strike. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon producers, Bumble Smash and Kajoma01. and our Super Gamer sponsors, Julie Bates, Mama Mare, and Carrie. If you want to be awesome just like those folks, head over to patreon.com/supergamerboys, where you can support us starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1 gets you episodes early and ad-free all month long. And as well as access to our Patreon exclusive shows such as Super Later Boys and early season of the Super Gamer Book Club, and ad-free episodes of everything in perpetuity. Perpetuity? Well, I guess no, that's future. What's the word for back? I guess you get the whole archive.
The backlog, the archive.
Yeah, the whole backlog. So like, even if you want to start listening back to old episodes of Super Gamer Boys or our Super Dungeon Boys show or Super Gamer Book Club, whatever it might be, get it all ad-free over there. Check it out. We'll talk more about our Patreon later on the show. I do want to give a huge shout out to Jack Sriracha, Yate, and DJ Trooz for allowing us to use their music on our show. Tonight, you're listening to Jack Sriracha and Yate, a little playlist I have on Apple Music. You can listen to their stuff on Apple Music and Spotify. Links will be in the show description below if you're on YouTube, and wherever the description is on podcast apps. Just look. You'll find it. All right. And with that, it's now time to check the mail and boot up Super GamerBot.
Fire it up.
Ahoy, nerdclads. Another Monday come and gone. Did either of you leave the house this weekend? I hope so. Anyway, it's question time. You ready?
Oh, we're ready. And I did leave the house this weekend. We both
So
did.
did I. You just heard us talking about it.
We both got out and touched some grass this weekend.
Right.
All right. We're not complete shut-ins.
You know what? I guess Super Gamer Bot just doesn't even listen to our conversations until they know it's time for them to, you know what I mean, to show up. They take sleep mode pretty seriously.
I picture Super Gamer Bot as like they are backstage in the dressing room until the very second we need them, and they're like running out on stage and like saying the thing, and then immediately back to the green room, just like, all right, I'm gonna kick it back here and eat
going
my
home.
cheese nips or whatever.
My job's done.
That's what Super Gamer Bot eats, is definitely cheese nips. Not even Cheez-Its, the name brand, like the weird cheese nips.
Cheese
that are just
nips.
like kind of cardboard
Cheesy
flavor.
bites, or I don't know.
Yeah. All right, Super Gamer Bot, go ahead and give me that first, and I guess only question from Sir Prince-A-Lot.
Sir Prince-A-Lot says it's time for another MCU hero recast. This time for Deadpool and Wolverine. Who you got?
Oh boy, another Marvel recast. We haven't gotten one of these for a while from Sir Prince-A-Lot. He was bringing the heat before. We're notoriously bad at it. I feel like, at least me. I'm very bad. I'm bad at this. So,
real talk.
But
this might be the hardest one.
You think? I agree.
I think this is like Iron Man level recasting. Like, I can't see anybody but these people being these characters at this point.
Yeah. No, it's kind of spot on, perfect casting. Well, I mean, Hugh Jackman, he's just been doing it for 30 years or whatever.
So long.
So it's like, how I don't know if I could ever see anyone else doing it. And then Deadpool being Ryan Reynolds, like, that's just too perfect. Like, too perfect. I did come up with a couple ideas. I don't know how much I don't know how much I love it. Like, they're not great, but they get close enough. I think.
Have at it.
So, start with Deadpool. I don't know. To me, the only person that has, it's a very different humor, but they still have a very sarcastic, cheeky kind of tone if they want it, was Chris Pine. I don't know. It comes out a little bit in like the Star Trek movies. Like, he kind of has like a little like like a very sarcastic. It's not the same as Ryan, but and then in the D&D movie, did you see the D&D movie that came out a couple years ago?
No, but I heard it was actually not bad.
It's actually really fun. I really enjoyed it, and he has more of that just kind of like silly, cheeky kind of sarcastic humor. And I don't know. It would be a very different Deadpool, but I think, in my opinion, he could come the closest to, portraying Deadpool. It wouldn't be the same Deadpool, but it would be a Deadpool, I don't know. What do you think? Do you have any other ideas, or what do you think of Chris Pine in there? I don't know.
I'm trying to think because I feel like Deadpool is such like a. It'd have to be somebody who can pull off like such a weird, targeted sense of humor and jokes.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's why it's so hard. I was like, how do you find someone who's as off the wall as Ryan Reynolds? Like he's such a wild card.
I don't know a movie star per se. I do think I don't know if you know who Eric Andre is.
The name sounds familiar. Let me look.
I think he could pull it off. He does a lot of sketch comedy and a lot of stand up.
Yep. Okay.
I think he might be able to pull it off.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen a ton of his stuff, just a couple of things here and there. But he's the one in that one meme. I don't know. They always see that one meme where it's like two panels where he shoots the guy and he's like, who could have done this? Yeah. Yeah, that one. That's that guy. Yeah, I think that's probably a good one. Again, not knowing a ton of his work, but what little I've seen.
I've been watching his stuff for a long time. I think he wouldn't be like as random quirky funny kind of deal. I think his stuff would be a lot like as far as like writing a Deadpool. I think his would be more set up punchline, quip. But I think it would still be a pretty funny, a pretty true to the character, like just spirit of chaos.
Yeah,
Deadpool.
Totally. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now Wolverine. Do you have any ideas for Wolverine?
This is, I think, the tougher of the two.
So I have a couple.
We've seen Hugh be Wolverine for so long, and they have never recasted him.
Totally. Yeah. No, it's very, very hard because it's been him. It's always been him. I have
what do you got?
Two ideas.
I'm listening.
So one is actually, granted, I haven't seen the Deadpool and Wolverine. I haven't seen the new movie, but there was a rumor at one point before the movie came out, like a clip came out of this actor, and everyone thought maybe it was from Deadpool and Wolverine. So don't spoil it for me if it is. Or I guess
I won't.
Let me just say, if you do spoil it, I wouldn't be upset. You know me, I don't care about spoil. Couldn't care less.
No, I know, but I still want you to. I still want it to hit for you. So I'm just not gonna look. I won't give any indicators while you say whatever this is.
I feel like it was debunked because I think it was from a different movie. But initially, the leak or the rumor was that this clip of Daniel Radcliffe was from Wolverine.
I did hear that theory that like
there was some behind the scenes
testing.
Yeah, there's some behind the scenes clip that was rumored to have leaked of him like doing something crazy online, and it looked like his hair was all crazy and he was like shirtless. I think he was even in his underwear or something like that. And so
I've seen that one.
And so yeah, it was just one of those things where I'm like, okay, like he would be a great Wolverine. Again, I don't know if that could be a clip from the Deadpool movie, and maybe the rumor was correct. I never heard it confirmed or didn't. Like I've only heard people debunking it, saying no, it was actually a different movie, but I don't know that for sure. So Daniel Radcliffe, actually, I was just like, he would be great. And then the other one in Soak7 in the chat says it. The same person, Carl Urban. I think he could do it as well. I mean, he's got the look, and he's already got the physique. He's in The Boys right now. He's playing some superhero stuff like that.
You know what? I could see it. That's a good pick.
I think they could both give it a good shot. They would both be very different Wolverines.
Very different.
Like Daniel Radcliffe, again, based off of that clip that I saw, I'm like, oh, he'd play like this crazy psycho dude, which would be great. Just like an unhinged Wolverine a little bit. Like I think he could do, or like really like hair trigger Wolverine, he could play.
Right.
And then Carl Urban, I think he would be very similar to Hugh Jackman, but could bring like more I don't know. He's just such a suave dude as well. Like I think he could bring a little more charisma to the role. Like not just like angry, ticked off at people, but if he could be like a more suave, kind of charismatic Wolverine. So I don't know. Those are my two thoughts.
Yeah, man, I'm blanking on Wolverine. It's like a near impossible task for me to
It's tricky.
think about who could step into those shoes. And I know, of course, one day we are going to have that conversation, right? I think after this one, I feel like it wouldn't be a surprise if he was like, I'm actually hanging it up this time, you know?
That was what happened before was actually I was what was it? Was that on Hot Ones? I was watching some interview with them recently. I think it was on Hot Ones. He was talking about how he literally like retired and then or said he was retiring from Wolverine. He was done. It was after Logan. And then like 2 days later, after he officially like put out his statement, Deadpool came out. He's like, yeah, a couple days later, Deadpool came out. I went to theaters, watched it, and immediately thought, shoot, it would be so sick if we could have a movie together. Like we would be perfect. And then here they are. Just took a couple movies, but he came back out of his Wolverine retirement and I want to go see it. Still haven't seen it, and I need to watch the first two though. I haven't actually watched the first two Deadpool movies, but
you're in for a treat. I can tell you that. I could see that, but I also can see him being like, okay, I made my one. I'm good. Now I've done everything I wanted to do as Wolverine. Call it a day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I almost anticipate, again, not knowing anything about the movie and how it could end. Like I anticipate it ending being kind of like very easily to be like, all right, yeah, I'm done. And it wouldn't cause too much of a hiccup, you know, like he could carry on, or he could just be like, all right, hang up the hat, move on.
Right.
But yep. It's two very, very hard people to cast there. So thanks.
That was a tough one. You got me, Sir Prince-A-Lot. I was not ready.
Yeah, that was a toughie. That was a toughie. It took some research on my end. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of times we try to do these questions more spontaneous. This one, as soon as I saw it yesterday, because I made the show notes yesterday, I'm like, I'm gonna look this one up. So we at least have something to come up with. Did some research. All right, that is it for the mailbag. Remember, if you want to write in, you can join us over at Discord at supergamerboys.com/Discord. Join our Discord over there. Completely free. Come hang out with us, talk about what games you're playing, what movies you're watching. Heck, if you want to have spoiler discussions on movies, let me know. We can make little private chat rooms for you guys, little channels, and you guys can spoil things to your heart's content. So love to have you, love to chat, love to hang out, and love to have your questions over there, over at the mailbag submit channel there. You could send them in.
Heck yeah.
And with that, it's now time for the nerdy nudes.
It's now time for the nerdy nudes.
Before we get into an actual first story, Soak7 says, what do you guys think of the RDJ news?
Love it.
I was very, very, very against the idea of him coming back for a long time. But then when they revealed that he's coming back as Doom, I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
It's okay. So look, here's the thing, right? A lot of should I be nice? A lot of people who read comics and think that they're better than you because they read comics, and think that they're better than other people who also read comics because they read comics, they are not jazzed about this because they think it feels cheap and you know, it's I don't know, they just feel like it's not a good move. They could have picked a different actor, they could have blah blah blah, right?
You're saying the comic book readers feel this way?
As a comic book reader, I do say that the comic book readers feel this way.
Okay.
You know, if you read comics at all, things like this happen all the time in comics.
That's what I was thinking. I feel like they would be the most understanding people because
bingo, right? And so when I saw that Tony was coming back, or that Robert was coming back, and the fact that we're in the multiverse saga, right? It's almost like 1-to-1 guarantee that this Doom is going to be a variant of Tony. and he's just gonna lean all the way into the egomaniaism, all the way into all the negative traits of what Tony is, or there's gonna be some event that happens to him that he just decides, I'm going all the way in the opposite direction, and that's how we get Doom. We get Doom, who already actually is a genius in the comics. Like he's all
Yeah.
So you get a Doom with a Tony Stark level intellect. And think about what Tony's able to do as Iron Man. Now think about if he doesn't have any moral code or any ethical code except to serve himself.
Wild.
That's terrifying.
I mean, I just
I'm
imagine
all about it.
I just imagine basically it's like the same as the original timeline, but instead of like getting kidnapped in the first movie, like he just continues on and continues to become his typical playboy, whatever, and to the point where he's just like getting more and more powerful and just like takes over, like Stark Industries is taking over the world under this, Dr. Doom, essentially. I don't know. Like it's, I mean, I'm sure they could take it a million other directions as well, but I'm just like, yep, that's the time. Like that's what's happening here. This is 100% like an evil Stark. Like, well, something happens where either something bad happens, maybe after when he does get kidnapped, or if it's a similar timeline, or maybe even before that, like something drastically different where different happens where he just goes full on egomaniac, like you said, where he's just like all about himself, all about the power, all about just this is mine. I own all the weapons in the world. It's all mine,
Right. Yeah,
Crazy.
no, I think this could be awesome, and I can't wait to see how they're gonna go about doing it. So sorry, I like fun comic booky ideas in my comic book movies.
Yeah, right.
Purists.
I know all the people coming out online and be like, they just totally nullified like this moment and these two moments.
No,
like,
they didn't.
Nothing. And
this is not Tony. This is not Tony.
It's not the same person.
It's not the same person. That character has just as much significance as it ever has or ever will, because this is not him.
Yeah.
Why is that such a hard concept for people to get?
I don't know.
This is not, when you see that face, know that face is not the face you know at all. It just looks the same. That's it. That is not the same person.
Not at all. Soak7 says 2 words, Chris Evans. Chris Evans has already said he does not want to come back. Like he's kind of said a few times he's done. Since the RDJ news, I think someone asked him again, because I feel like I just saw something pop up recently on my headlines that said like it was a statement from him, and he's like he's doing pretty good for himself without Marvel. Like he did great with Marvel, obviously he made him a lot of money, but he's had a couple good movies.
Yeah, I mean, if he's done, he's done.
So I think but I don't know. RDJ also said he was done, and here he is. So
yeah, he was. I feel like he was done for Iron Man, and then they came with this like this enticing like challenge, right? Now we want you to be the villain, and we want you to, completely play a different character. It's like, oh, I can see him wanting to try to test his chops on that. So.
Oh, wait, Soak7, you're saying something different. He said he played 2 characters and no one batted eye. Who was the second character Chris Evans played? I don't remember him playing two characters. I thought you meant him coming back.
He was in Fantastic Four.
Oh, yeah, but that's not in canon. Like that was before the MCU. Where this is different. This is within the same like
this continuity.
Canon continuity, kind of thing. Although I guess at this point they're bringing all sorts of old movies into the fray between.
So why not?
Like all the different TV shows and movies and stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, they very well, it could be in this continuity. We haven't seen it yet, but it very well could be. What else was I going to say? Oh, with RDJ too, I was joking with my brother-in-law because I was just like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a great idea. Like I could have easily been enticed as well if they came to me and said, hey, you want to play the bad guy now? But also I was like, he's probably hurting for money. Honestly, like, have you seen the movies he's come out with since about Marvel? They've been bad.
They've been bad, but also he doesn't have to. You know how much money he made?
No, he's rolling in it. He's rolling in it. But it was.
And then
It was just more of a little jab, a joke I made because like every movie
then,
like he's done since Marvel has been a flop. Like freaking Doolittle,
except
like
Oppenheimer.
a year later. I guess he was in that. I forgot he was in that. Like a year later, like that Doolittle movie came out and it was so bad. There's been he's had like flop after flop after flop. I'm like, he's probably just ready to have a good movie again. Like, you know, teaming up with the Russo brothers, teaming up with Marvel. Like, all right, here we go.
Especially because he just won an Oscar for his performance in Oppenheimer. Oh, I guarantee you the payday with Marvel was crazy. It had to be.
Oh, yeah.
A, we got to get you to come back. And B, now you're an Oscar winner. So obviously the price goes up exponentially. Yeah. So I'm thinking they had to at least a 7-figure deal. Maybe even 8.
Probably crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Or not, I'm sorry, an 8-figure deal, maybe even 9. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they did like $100 million for this.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I don't know how much he got paid for the other movies. I know it's probably like he was one of the highest paid ones, but
you know what? I can Google it.
Imagine that. Google. We can get into this news story then while you're Googling that. This first news story comes to us from IGN. Sony launches PSVR2 Steam app less than 2 weeks before PC support rolls out. This is from Taylor Lyles over there.
$50 to $80 million.
Okay.
For his original run as Tony Stark. So yeah, he's making that at least.
He's making some good money.
Yeah.
Sony launches PSVR2 Steam app less than 2 weeks before PC support rolls out. This is from Taylor Lyles over at IGN. Less than 2 weeks from now, the PSVR2 will get a new lease on life. The second generation PlayStation virtual reality headset will receive compatibility support, allowing owners to play Steam VR games like Half-Life Alyx. Ahead of the release, Sony has dropped a new app and Valve's digital distribution store that shares a bit more insight on PSVR2 compatibility on Steam. According to the Steam listing, users must use the PlayStation VR2 app for the initial setup to play Steam VR games on PSVR2. Okay, well, that answers a question from before the show. We immediately were talking about it, and like, why do they need this app? What is the deal? So it's the initial setup. It's still weird, but okay. The app will be used to update the firmware for the PSVR2 hardware, allow users to adjust settings such as screen brightness, and establish a play area for the device via the Steam VR dashboard. The Steam listing also shares the system requirements to run Steam VR games on PSVR2. These remain unchanged from what Sony previously confirmed. To get the best performance, the company recommends that your PC gaming rig be equipped with an RTX 3060, an AMD Radeon RX 6600 XT, or a newer GPU, such as the RTX 40 series. As it was implied, the Sense controllers will be compatible with Steam VR games, just as the Steam listing confirms. However, as Sony revealed last month when it announced the required $60 PC adapter needed to run PSVR 2 on a PC, using the head-mounted display on a PC would limit several key features available on the PSVR 2, such as eye tracking, adaptive triggers, and headset feedback. However,
why?
Why? I don't know. Because like the Valve indexes a lot of that stuff, right? Doesn't it? And that's made by Steam. However,
and also you made the app. You made the thing that bridge into the Steam VR. Why couldn't you just do it to turn everything on? You made it.
I mean, they made it work for DualSense. Like I can play Call of Duty on PC and use my DualSense and have all the same adaptive triggers and HD rumble and stuff, but with the headset, it's too much work. However, a 110-degree field of view, finger touch detection, and 4K resolution will be accessible. The app will be released on August 6th, a day before the PC adapter is officially released. The device aims to expand the versatility of the $550 VR gaming headset, which, by the way, was on sale this weekend for $350. Almost acceptable. Almost an acceptable price.
It was right there. $299?
$299 is what we talked about. It was really close. It was really close.
Might have done it.
As Sony tries to expand the PSVR 2's gaming library beyond locking it to the PS5 gaming hardware ecosystem. The PSVR 2 launched last year. Despite its impressive technical specs, the headset has seemingly lost momentum following its February 2023 launch date. In an interview with Financial Times last December, Sony Interactive Entertainment's head of global business, Eric Lempel, said that virtual reality was a bit of a challenging category right now. Last month, Android, not really, just make games for it. It's not that challenging. I mean, it's hard to make games, don't get me wrong, but Sony didn't even really try. Let's just say it how it is.
Fair.
They never really gave it
2 games. Woo.
Yeah. Last month, Android Central reported that Sony was making deep cuts to funding for VR games, making for very few opportunities for first-party VR games in the future. Additionally, the outlet claimed in its report that only 2 first-party PSVR2 games were currently in development. Yeah, so they have this little adapter. I'm trying to see do you know what the port is for PSVR? Isn't it just I thought it was just USB-C.
I thought it was just USB-C.
So this is literally it says PlayStation VR2 PC adapter. So this is a box. It's a picture of the box that has a USB-C input on one end, and it converts it to USB-A.
Why? What is PS5 doing that a PC can't do? That you only need the C to C cable.
So if I plug, because it says it's required to have this box, but I have a USB-C slot on my computer. What happens if I just plug that in? It's not gonna work. That's wild. What's also wild to me is USB-C. So for my Oculus, if I plug it in through USB-A, I have trouble at times because it can't transfer enough data fast enough. So I have a special, I don't have the Oculus fiber optic cable. I have a third party one that's significantly cheaper, only like $20 instead of $80. But that's USB-C to USB-C, and I get incredible quality through my Quest 2. I'm just so confused right now. Like, why would you downgrade your device to use it on PC? Like, does it seriously not work if I just plug it in directly to my USB-C port right here?
I don't get.
What are they doing? I don't know. Well, seems weird.
Because, okay, check it out, right? How does this serve you? Because if I buy this headset and you're telling me from the get-go that I have to have some kind of box every time I want to play it.
$60 for the box.
A $60 box, right? But then you tell me that some of the features are hamstrung, right?
Yeah.
Some of the features don't work, so now the headset is hamstrung. Why would I buy it then? If you tell me I'm going to get a lesser experience than I would if I just played it with a PlayStation 5 on what we all know, right, for PC is significantly more powerful hardware that should be able to do everything PSVR does and more, why would I buy it? I would just go buy a Quest. That makes no sense.
So we had kind of touched on rumors about this a few weeks ago, because it like some rumors, and maybe it wasn't even rumors. It was like maybe their official announcement, but it was very vague at the beginning. When we first talked about it, my theory then, and after reading all this new information, I'm standing by it 100% now. Before I was kind of like, maybe. Now I'm like, no, this is 100% what it is. They're sunsetting the PSVR2, and instead of stranding PSVR2 on the PlayStation 5, very uncharacteristically, they're kind of throwing a bone to the PSVR2 owners and saying, sorry, we're not coming out with more stuff, but here's a box that you can buy so we can make a little extra cash, and you're not just stranded on PlayStation Island. You can go and play on PC now too. That's this is not a device to get people to buy PSVR2s. It's for people who already have PSVR2s who are soon not going to have anything to do with the PSVR2 because
so they don't get pissed off at Sony.
Because Sony's hanging up their hat and they don't want to. So it's very, like I said, very uncharacteristic of Sony. Like, why do they care? Like, they've never cared before what people think about them.
They usually just cut and run.
They just cut and run. But that's the only thing I can think of is it's kind of like hey, you know what? Here's this box because things are shutting down. I don't know. Very strange.
But I feel like it's giving people another roundabout way to be upset, right? Because if I buy a PSVR 2 and you tell me, okay, or you don't have to tell me, but like writings on the wall, we're sunsetting this with PlayStation 5, but we're going to give you this box so that you can play it on your PC, but it's not going to be as good as when you play it with your PlayStation 5. So you're like putting salt in the wound on the way out. Like, yeah, you can play it on PC, but it's going to suck. Why do you care? You're not getting any more money from me. Why do you care? Why would you make it a lesser experience for me then?
Right.
That seems like it's out of spite.
So
not my fault. It's not my fault you decided to come out with a $500 device.
Yeah.
That only had two exclusive games.
Soak 7 just said in the chat, the box also needs a DisplayPort 1.4 cable. So I brought up another article here talking about what this box is, what's in this box. So literally when you buy this adapter, all you get is the box, which is a USB-C to a USB-A adapter. But it says here, the adapter doesn't come with everything required to plug and play. So even when you buy this box, it's not going to be get home, plug it in, you're good to go. Players will also need to purchase a DisplayPort cable compatible with DisplayPort 1.4 and most obviously a VR ready gaming PC. A Steam account is required to play Steam VR, obviously. So yeah, you still need a DisplayPort cable. So not only are you need to buy this accessory, but you're also adding cables to your setup as well. So like you're adding so many adapters and cables to this whole, like making it so much more convoluted. Sorry, that's a little off topic from what you were saying, but I just thought that was interesting. Like not only is the box convoluting things, but then they're adding more cables that you have to hook up. So basically we're at a PSVR1 situation again, where there's just cables.
No, you're piggybacking off of me because now you're making the product worse. It's a worse experience.
Like with my Quest 2, I can either do it wirelessly over Wi-Fi if my Wi-Fi is good, which it is, my router's right there, or I can plug it in with that USB-C cable.
With a cable and get a great experience.
It's great. So it's wild to me that, I mean, granted, obviously the cable going from the headset to the adapter is a single cable, but then after that, it's like, it's a PSVR2 setup where all of a sudden it's like, now we got how many cables, adapters, boxes, like why?
No thanks.
Why does PlayStation have to complicate everything? It's so simple.
No, it's so annoying.
Simple. Just keep it like, why do I need to downgrade from USB-C to USB-A other than they want to be able to sell this $60 box to people?
It
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. For advanced as that tech is in there, especially for something that was made within the last couple of years, especially because USB-C has been a thing for years now, right?
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. I don't. It honestly, I could not recommend this headset if you were a PC VR enthusiast. I would tell you to get like a Quest or a Vive or what's the other thing?
Valve Index. I mean, that's like $1,000. That's an expensive headset, but it has a lot of pretty sick features. And the last I checked,
it has like all those cameras and stuff.
Yeah,
right.
Like it has like hand tracking and all sorts of crazy stuff, if I remember right.
Right.
Yeah, the fact that this is a $550 headset plus a $60 adapter, you're looking at $610, plus that cable is anywhere from $15 to $20. So you're looking at almost $650. Or 600, sorry, so like 625, 630, like
before buying games.
Before you buy but you bought a game for it.
Or I could buy a Quest 2, which is still a relatively good headset, you know, online for maybe like $250, right? I get that same USB cable. Now we're at $270, and I have how much more before I even hit $550? How many games can I get?
Yeah, I mean, so the newer Quest, the Quest 3 is more expensive, if I remember right. Right, but still cheaper than the PlayStation headset. And again, you can either plug it in with a USB-C cable you can get for cheap on Amazon, or run it over Wi-Fi, and it's almost like there's very, very, very little lag. Honestly, it's pretty great. So, yeah, I don't know, Sony. A lot of shenanigans going on over there.
Don't know what you're thinking here, bud.
Even Soak7 says, I own one, but I'm disappointed by the shenanigans. 100%. There's a lot of shenanigans.
And you know what?
Okay, so I just brought up price. I was curious what the Meta Quest 3 is, because I have the Quest 2, and I got it for like $300. So the Quest 3 is $500, but it's also
it's a standalone I can't play my PSVR2 on its own.
Right, exactly. PSVR2 has to be plugged into PS5. A Quest 3 I can use anywhere I want, plus on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's just a single USB-C cable or just over your Wi-Fi network. So already like being $50 cheaper and having the significant like advantage of play on the go, play at home, play whatever, like to plug it in, have it wireless, do whatever you want. Like, man, it's wild. I know PSVR2, all the last time we talked about VR, people came at us in the comments. I will be upfront, like, yeah, there's some cool features on PSVR2 as far as the 4K displays.
We've said that. We've said PSVR2 is a great piece of kit.
It's a great headset.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm
everything around it is not.
Yeah, that's not the only thing I'm looking for in a VR headset. Like, honestly, the versatility that's what speaks to me. Like Quest 3 being able to do so much. Like that's what speaks to me, let me tell you.
Right.
And having a much bigger ecosystem right out of the box. Not being pinned to PlayStation until I buy another $60 box.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, okay. So it's $500 for the 128 gig. If I want the 512 gig, it's $650. So at that point, it's the same price as a PSVR 2 with all the shenanigans.
But I also can play that one anywhere else. I don't have to be tethered to my computer. I don't have to be tethered to my PS5. Yeah. I can just take those same games and go play them wherever I want. So
yep.
You have to factor that in, the fact that you're basically buying a whole machine as well, right? Not only are you buying a headset, but you're buying the machine, the computer inside. So at $650, I can't really be that mad about it. Now, if PSVR was its own unit and it was $550 and it was $600, we might be able to talk. You might be able to justify that.
Imagine if PSVR 2 was a standalone unit that maybe couldn't play games natively, but could, similar to your PlayStation Portal, stream games. And so, like, anywhere in my house,
you might still be able to cook a little bit with that.
Yeah, like I would even be fine with that. Like, okay, I can't play it natively, but as long as I'm on like a Wi-Fi network, I can do PlayStation remote play from my VR headset with no cables. I could even go for that. But the fact that you're tethered to something, whether it's a computer or a PlayStation, that's where it gets me right there. Not a fan of that.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm honestly just I never want projects to like fail, I'm just honestly ready to be over PSVR 2. I think VR is
it's
awesome.
Not long for this world. Not long for this world.
No, it's not.
So
it's not.
We'll be done pretty soon here with it.
I don't know. I don't think VR is in Sony's future at this point anymore. No. I think we're done. I think we're over it.
I hope we're done because they've tried twice and had two very good products that they just didn't support well. So I hope we're done. I hope they just move on. I hope they give up. Like, I'm sad that they've flopped, but now it's like, all right, just move on, because
let's just focus on making games.
If they do it a third time, I would be so mad. Like, what are you doing?
I would legitimately be upset if they make another VR headset at this point.
At that point, they're just scamming people.
Pretty much. Like, it's honestly, you have to be a dummy at this point to buy a third headset. Now, I will say,
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me three times.
Say,
oh my gosh!
When the fire sale starts, I will 100% own up to this. When the fire sale starts, if I can find one at $250 or lower, I am going to buy it. I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, at the right price point, there's nothing wrong with the PSVR 2 headset.
Not at all.
It's a fantastic headset. It's just the price is ridiculous. In the grand scheme of things, of like, not only do I have to have the headset for $500, $550, whatever it is, but then a $500 console. Like, that's what, so like if it hit like we were saying, $299, $250, like around there, it's like, okay, yeah, I could feel that. but it hurts. It hurts when it's not being well supported and it's on its way.
You still want that amount of money for it.
And you're still charging the $550. It's just like, so hard to justify. It's hard to justify in my mind. I don't know. It's not a bad unit. It just, for that price, it's hard to justify. Glovebox Gaming. Glovebox Gaming over on YouTube in the chat says, do you guys have PSVR2? I do not personally, but I have friends who do. Some listeners of the show have written in and talked about their experience, and it sounds like an incredible experience for what it is. Again, like we just said, though, it's just like a hard pill to swallow, spending $550 for it.
And I have skin in the game. I bought PSVR 1. I was all about PSVR 1. I had a bunch of games for PSVR 1, had a great time with it. It was a pain in the butt to set up and put away, but that's how much fun I had with it. I was willing to put up
PSVR 1. Yeah. PSVR 2, though, I think that was the other thing. The fact that they cut and run on the old library, like my old library wouldn't come
nuts.
Over. Because that would have been a huge incentive. It still would have been hard to spend $550, but I might have convinced myself if it ever went a little bit on sale. But the fact
imagine seeing all those games again for the first time with that super Astrobot rescue mission.
Oh man,
super clear on those 4K
OLED
displays. Oh,
it'd be gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
With the eye tracking, come on, man.
The fact that they cut and run is just like, nah, I'm good. Because you're, again, fool me once, fool me twice. Like I couldn't do it because for all I know, PSVR 3 comes out. They're trying to scam us here again, and they cut off PSVR 2 games. I'm like, nah, I'm not buying any more of your VR games. I can't trust you. I can't trust you. Man. All right. I think that's about it for that news story here. That's, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Went a little long on that one.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm just curious once the rollout for PC gaming comes out, how it actually goes, how it actually works. We'll see.
And somebody tested if you can just use the USB-C cable and not have to get that dumb box, please.
If someone has a PSVR 2, I want to let us know. Plug it into your USB-C port on your computer and see if you can get it to work. Because that just seems crazy that they're going to be like, nah, you got to buy a $60 box just to downgrade it to a USB-A port. Like, what is that? That doesn't make any sense. Let's make our system slower. Let's get you less data to those beautiful crystal clear 4K OLEDs.
Right.
I don't know.
Sure thing.
Doesn't make sense. Why not just go straight to USB-C? It's right there. It's right there. All right. This next news story comes to us from Chris Pariah over at GameSpot. Indie game publisher Humble Games reportedly lays off all staff. The indie game publisher Humble Games has reportedly laid off its entire staff, which consists of 36 people. However, the company says it's not shutting down, but is instead restructuring our operations. Do we need to bring out a dictionary right now? I feel like if you don't have a staff and you're not supporting product, you don't have a company, right? Like that's kind of
closed. You're closed.
If there's
you
a closed sign
operate.
If there's a close on the door and business is not running as usual, it's shut down. Maybe temporarily, but you're shut down. Like that's kind of how that works, right?
Dude. What are we talking about?
Restructuring. According to a now former Humble Games senior quality assurance analyst, their entire team was let go. Another employee who was a producer also confirmed he was being laid off. The publisher previously underwent 2 rounds of layoffs, first in April 2022, then in November 2023. Oh wow, I didn't realize that there was already 2 other rounds of layoffs for them. In a statement shared with GameSpot, Humble Games confirmed that Humble Bundle will have no impact on its operations. Additionally, this is interesting. We're going to touch on another story here in a minute that coincides with this. But additionally, ongoing and upcoming games from Humble Games will still move ahead and be published by the company. Humble Games is a publisher of many notable indie games, including Stray Gods, Bo, Path of the Teal Lotus, Chinatown Detective Agency, Ikenfell, Unpacking, Slay the Spire, and Midnight Fight Express. Unpacking, a very good game. Slay the Spire, I've heard great things about. Really all those games, just to name a few. Humble Games is a separate publishing arm of digital storefront Humble Bundle. both companies are owned by Ziff Davis, but operate as separate entities. Earlier this year, Ziff owned IGN Entertainment, also bought video game websites Eurogamer, Rock Paper Shotgun, VG247, GamesIndustry.biz, and Dicebreaker from the Gamer Network. So I thought that Ziff Davis bought Humble Games, but they didn't. IGN owns Humble Games.
Right.
So Ziff owns IGN, and then
I was
IGN...
gonna say, essentially, they do own Humble Games.
They do, but it's like a roundabout way. So Ziff owns IGN, and IGN owns all of those news sites, which that's interesting. Right. Because from the outsider, you would think these are all competing news sites, when really they're all owned by IGN, which is wild to think about. I didn't realize that. I mean, I'm pretty sure... Now that I'm talking about it, we definitely did a story on this, but I'd forgotten about it. And then, the fact that they own all those news sites and they own Humble Games, and it's just shut down. It's just it. Soak 7 Plays says they bought Digital Foundry as well. I think I remember hearing that as well.
Really? IGN did?
Yeah.
Huh.
Or maybe Ziff Davis, one of the two. I mean, it's one of the same, basically.
I didn't think they would sell. That's crazy. I always... envision them as like some pretty independent dudes over there at Digital Foundry. So that makes me raise my eyebrow a little bit.
So going back to that statement, Humble Games confirmed that Humble Bundle will have no impact on its operation. Additionally, this is the important sentence right here. Additionally, ongoing and upcoming games from Humble Games will still move ahead and be published by the company. So even though all 36 people who are left in the company have been laid off, business as usual somehow, even though no one's there to answer the phones. Here's where we get to our next news story connected to this one here. Also from GameSpot by Virender Singh Jabal over, GameSpot, like I said. Humble Games layoffs leave developer unable to update its game or release it on Switch. Earlier this week, it was announced that publisher Humble Games laid off its entire staff. This mass layoff did not solely affect its immediate staff, but also the developers and games under the publisher, such as the developer of Coral Island, now facing uncertainty regarding its Xbox, Switch, and PlayStation versions. Developer Stairway Games revealed in a statement that Humble Games layoff have left it unable to release updates for the console versions of the game due to Humble typically handling them. The team explained that an incoming hotfix is unable to be released outside of Steam, and that they really have no idea how to release this update to console players due to the lack of back-end permissions on those platforms. Stairway also acknowledged the long wait for the Switch port, which was announced for 2024, but has yet to be released. Here's their full statement. I'll just go ahead and read it. They posted on Twitter. We'd like to say, this is from Stairway, the developers of Coral Island. We'd like to say something to you today, given that Humble Games' recent restructuring leaves consoles in a place of uncertainty. However, we see this as an opportunity to share what we can. To start, we share in your frustrations regarding the lack of Nintendo Switch port of Coral Island. Over the years, there's a lot we've wanted to say in the spirit of transparency about many different things, but continue to be unable to do so because of the publishing agreement and NDA we have in place. The impact of Humble Games restructuring on Coral Island remains uncertain for all things related to consoles, whether porting or pushing hotfixes, as they are responsible for these platforms. We've been in communication with our lawyers since we found out about the restructuring on social media. That's what I wanted to touch on that. Imagine finding out that your publisher is just done through a Twitter post. Like, you don't even hear from them. You don't even get an email saying,
fighting.
Hey,
we're fighting when I see you. We're fighting.
Like, that's wild for them to just be like, I mean, and again, that's not on the employees. That's on whoever did the laying off at IGN through IGN Entertainment. Like, there should have been like, hey, okay, we need to send an email out to all of the games we're doing publishing for. And that did not happen. That's wild. Because typically with a layoff, they're just like, pack up and leave, Right. So that's not on the employees. That's on whoever the higher up was that just like, all right, everyone leave. Like, crazy.
We'll figure it out later.
For example, we have an upcoming hotfix for the 1.1 update nearing release for Steam. We have no idea how to get this update out to other platforms players, as we don't have the backend permission on console platforms to push updates out. We only have access to the Steam backend. Because of this, the only thing we can do for Switch backers, effective immediately, is offer a key change to the Steam platform. We will offer key changes for as long as we're able to. Please email us for a key change. You can also join our Discord server. So basically, they're saying, hey, because this was originally a Kickstarter where they raised $1.5 million, where they reached their goal and a bunch of stretch goals. So it came out on console. It's supposed to come out on consoles and Switch and PC everywhere. They're basically saying, hey, if you backed us on the Kickstarter for Switch, sorry, we can't publish it to Switch. So email us so we can send you a Steam key. It's like, well, what if they don't have a Steam Deck? What if they don't have a PC? Like what?
What if I wanted it on my Switch?
What if you just want it on your Switch? And now you can't get it.
I can't do that?
Oh, I feel so bad for Stairway Games because that puts them in such a pinch, like such a like a rock and a hard place with that situation. And this is my favorite part. We'll keep you posted on developments once we have more information. Pardon my French here, but that's editorial from Garrett here. We know it fucking sucks, but we hope you understand. Thanks.
It does. It does, big time.
I love how just like blunt they are in their official public statement, and they're just like,
I'm not mad at them. I'm pissed off for them. Yeah. I really am.
Absolutely wild. So Humble Games lied because again they put their official statement is ongoing and upcoming games are still going to move ahead, be published, everything's business as usual. And then like 3 days later, Coral Island developer over their Stairway Games is like, excuse me, knock, knock, knock. Anyone home? We want to publish an update.
We'd like to,
game on
continue
Switch.
to make our game, please.
Wild. I don't know what.
I don't have a whole lot of stuff to say about this, except this is really slimy, and 100%. I hate that this team was affected by this harshly.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of people getting taken advantage of in this industry, and we've been seeing it all year from the layoffs, the random shutdowns, all this. And this is unfortunately another casualty to just add to the incredibly long list of people who have lost their jobs in an industry that they're passionate about. And because the company knows that they're passionate about it, they know they can take advantage of people. So
yeah.
My heart goes out to anybody who was affected by this, of course. And I'm sure it's going to be tough, but there are a lot of good people in the working level in this industry who want to see their peers win. So I'm sure people are reaching out to people who used to work at Humble and are helping them find, a new gig. So
yeah, I feel bad for the employees who got let go, and then all the developers that were working with Humble Games. Like, man, what a crappy situation for all of them.
I would want out immediately. Whatever deal we had, absolutely not. You are not publishing anything anymore.
That's the only reason I can think why in their official statement they say we're not shutting down, we're restructuring. Because legally, if they shut down, I'm sure it null and voids all those contracts. Where if they're restructuring, even if they never come back, or maybe it comes back and they just hire one dude to run the company, basically it's like it's just a way to legally keep all those contracts intact so people can't get out of them without breaking the contract. Like the studio would have to break it, and probably pay some penalty or fee or something in order to leave the contract. So it's slimy in that way too. Again, that's speculation. I don't have any confirmation on that, but I would not be surprised if that's the reason. Their official statement is that we're restructuring. So that way they can keep those contracts alive, and they don't take any penalty from it. And if the people want to get out of it, well, then they get penalty.
Good luck.
The developers, these indie developers who are already barely getting by to make their passion project, they're getting dinged. Wild.
It's just a crazy world we live in, man.
Absolutely. So yeah, you said it best though. I agree with everything you said. I hope you guys all get back on your feet, and you developer studios, I hope you can figure out a way through this, because it's a crappy situation.
Don't let this incident, I know it's tough, and I'm speaking of course from the outside of a person who's not necessarily not in the industry, but just like an observer. Please don't let this jade you. We need people like you guys. We need game developers. We need people who are creative to continue to make things. So don't let this get you down if you've been affected. Just remember why you got into it and kind of let that be your guide,
Yep. 100%. All right. This last news story comes to us from gamesindustry.biz, written by Vicky Blake. SAG-AFTRA calls for a video game strike effective tomorrow. This was written last Thursday. So as of this last Friday, they are on strike. The Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, has called a strike effective at 12:01 a.m. July 26. The strike comes after the SAG-AFTRA National Board unanimously agreed earlier this week to permit its chief negotiator to call an immediate strike at will in a bid to protect voice actors fighting for job security as more and more studios explore generative AI. National Executive Director and Chief Negotiator Duncan Crabtree Ireland, acting under the authority delegated by SAG-AFTRA, says the strike comes after more than a year and a half of negotiations about the interactive media agreement without a deal. The convenience bargaining group with whom SAG-AFTRA is negotiating includes Activision, Blindlight, Disney, Electronic Arts, Formosa Entertainment, Insomnia, Llama Productions, Take-Two Productions, VoiceWorks Productions, and WB Games. SAG-AFTRA says it was campaigning to offer critical AI protections for members by asking any game looking to employ SAG-AFTRA talent to perform covered work must sign on to the new tiered budget independent interactive media agreement, the Interactive Media Agreement, or Interim Interactive Localization Agreement. However, SAG-AFTRA claims that although agreements have been reached on many issues important to its members, the employers refuse to plainly affirm in clear and enforceable language that they will protect all performers covered by this contract in their AI language. The video game industry generates billions of dollars in profits annually. The driving force behind that success is the creative people who design and create those games, said Crabtree Ireland. What a name. Imagine your last name was Crabtree Ireland. Duncan Crabtree Ireland. Like, that's a video game NPC if I like. That's. Like
I was gonna say, if that's not a Secret of Monkey Island name.
Yes. So good. That includes the SAG-AFTRA members who bring memorable and beloved game characters to life, and they deserve and demand the same fundamental protections as performers in film, television, streaming, and music: fair compensation and the right of informed consent for the AI use of their faces, voices, and bodies. Frankly, it's stunning that these video game studios haven't learned anything from the lessons of last year, that our members can and will stand up and demand fair and equitable treatment with respect to AI, and the public supports us in that. I assume that's in reference to last year's actors SAG-AFTRA strike against Hollywood films, right? It was more against like films and stuff like that.
Right, but there were already rumblings at that time too that
it was a writer's strike. Sorry, it wasn't.
Right, but I'm saying even still there were rumblings that the game industry was looking into possibly having to do that. So this has been some time coming.
Yeah. In a statement to GamesIndustry.biz, Audrey Cooling, a spokesperson for the video game producers involved in the IMA negotiations, said, "We're disappointed the union has chosen to walk away when we are so close to a deal, and we remain prepared to resume negotiations." Whatever. We have already found common ground on 24 and 25 proposals, including historic wage increases and additional safety provisions. Our offer is directly responsive to SAG-AFTRA's concerns and extends meaningful AI protections that include requiring consent and fair compensation to all performers working under the IMA. These terms are among the strongest in the entertainment industry. So basically, someone who represents the game studios are saying, like, everything's good. I don't know what their deal is. Well, obviously not everything's good. Like,
we were just getting ready to make you a deal. Didn't you want us to pay you peanuts?
Yeah. Wow. And that's not even a big thing. It's just like stealing people's likenesses and then turning it into like using AI to AI to manipulate it and whatnot. Instead of just hiring the actor to come do a new line or come re-record I assume that's what it sounds like to me anyways. Again, I'm uneducated.
That's what it is.
So if someone is an expert in this, let me know. But from what I understand, basically it's saying they are trying to protect the actors whose likenesses, voices, and like everything, faces, bodies, voices, any part of the actor that is in the game, protecting it from being artificially manipulated with AI, because that's a thing you can do. Once you have someone's voice and someone's picture and likeness, like you can make it do whatever you want. It's amazing.
It's getting scary good, dude.
Yeah, you can't even tell. So that's what this is protecting, is keeping Ubisoft from just being like, oh yeah, this so-and-so actor is going to be the new Assassin's Creed character. We only need him to come in and say like 10 lines that we can feed to our AI, and now we can have him say whatever we want. And we only pay him for the 3 hours it took to record those lines, but we're going to get a lot more work out of it. That's what they're trying to avoid. And I agree with that. So Wild that just there's no sort of like human decency, on the publisher's side. Like it just seems like I don't know, as a business person's point of view, I can see like, oh yeah, you can cut corners with AI, but man, like, all right, so whenever you do that, the actor still gets paid for it then, even if they didn't actually come in. If you're using their likeness, they get the same fee as if they were coming in and doing it. How about that? Like,
right.
I know, but that's what they're trying
I don't know if we could swing that one. Okay, now all of a sudden money is the issue. Got it.
Yeah,
makes sense.
No. So yeah, this is protecting the actors from AI, which it's scary how good AI is getting, and it's scary what people can do with it. And
in just such a short amount of time, I feel like, since before it was the like in the zeitgeist, of like, this is a thing a lot of people know about, and man, it's exponentially getting better and better and better until people are just going to be able to type a prompt and it'll give you a full movie scene about it.
Yeah, I mean that's already kind of a thing. Like, I don't know if you've seen it.
It is, but it's still like
it's still janky.
Rough.
Yeah, it's rough, but it's like, you can type in a prompt and get like a full blown like video clip. Like, it's wild. And unless you're like really clued in or like paying attention, like it could fool people. Yeah, absolutely. Wild. So good on you, SAG-AFTRA. Stand up for yourselves. We got your backs. We support
Keep trucking.
You got this. People are more important than video games. Video games are cool.
10 times out of 10.
But people are more important.
People are more important than video games. Life itself is more important than video games.
It's true.
Even though sometimes that can be a little tough to believe. But yeah, no, this is way more important than video games right now, even though it's about video games.
100%. All right. And with that is the end of our nerdy nudes. Now it's time for our Patreon ad.
Let's do it.
All right, this is the part of the show where I tell you to go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys and support us over there, starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1. Gets you episodes early and ad-free all month long, whether it's Super Gamer Boys, whether it's some of our other shows, which most are on hiatus at the moment, but when they do come back, you'll be getting some of those. You also get exclusive access, Patreon-only access to Super Later Boys. So you can only ever listen to that if you support us on Patreon. Season 1 of Super Gamer Book Club, only available on Patreon. So if you're interested in getting some of that early, ad-free, or exclusive content, just $1, and you get it all. We keep it cheap for you. You know what? Okay, you're not looking here to. We're not over here like those game publishers trying to make the billion. Don't get me wrong, it'd be nice. We're here just to make you guys some cool content. We want to get it to you. So $1 a month, and your support helps tremendously. Every little bit goes towards hosting the website, hosting the podcast, buying equipment that we need, lights, cameras, mics, buying games that we can play and then talk about on the show. So if you want to help, that's right. We're not big enough to get free games. We don't get our games for free. We buy them all, which if you haven't noticed, it slows down from time to time when we got to recoup our budget a little bit. So your support helps make cool stuff for the show. So think about supporting us, starting at $1. We also have a $5 level tier where you can get those previous perks and the show notes ahead of time. So if you want a little behind the scenes peek, Sunday afternoon I sent out the show notes for the upcoming Monday recording, and you can see exactly what we're going to be talking about, what the listener questions are, what the nerd nudes is, what games we've been playing. And the cool thing about it is it's open for comments. So you can click right on the doc, leave your question, comments, concerns, thoughts right on the show notes. So if you want your voice heard, if you have thoughts about Humble Games shutting down, or PSVR2 Steam app, if you had your own fan casting for Deadpool and Wolverine, or you wanted to share a game you've been playing and your thoughts on it, you can go over those show notes, drop that right on there. We'll read it live on the air during the show here. So $5 a month gets you access to those show notes. $10 a month gets those previous perks and a big old shout out at the top of the show. We love our Super Gamer sponsors. You guys are awesome. Big old shout out at the top of each and every episode, alongside our top dog tier, which is the Patreon producer, $15 a month. So you get all those previous perks, you get the shout outs, you get the show notes, you get the episodes early and ad free. But if you're a Patreon producer, you can pitch us a segment. If you have an idea, you think it would just be amazing, whether it's your own segment, something we have to do on a segment, or maybe it's a spin-off thing something that we post, like an Instagram reel or a TikTok that we had Kajoma's Card Game Corner for a while. We had, back in the day, Super Indie Boys was a fun one that we had. If you have some fun ideas, you can support us at $15 a month, get all those previous perks, and you can pitch us that segment. We'll give it the old college try. It's always a fun time. I love it when our Patreon producers come up with some fun ideas for us to try. We give it a shot. Sometimes it's a hit. It's fun. Sometimes it's a glorious explosion, just dumpster fire. But you know what? It's good. It's good. So patreon.com/supergamerboys. Think about supporting us over there. We would very much appreciate it. You can also support us by going to sgbstore.com. We launched a new merch line at the beginning of this month, Summer Gamer Boys. So if you want some sick summer merch, go over to sgbstore.com. We got some fun new t-shirts, a colored version, and just a black on tan version. We got swim shorts, which I wore recently actually swimming in a pool, and let me tell you, they're comfy, they're great, they look good. I got the blue ones, they're blue and pink, and very, very, very good. Highly recommend. Actually, I was even telling Trudy, I'm like, no joke, these are probably some of my favorite board shorts I've ever gotten. So check out those swim shorts over there. We got hats, glasses, cups, whatever, all sorts of fun for the summer stuff. So go check it out. We even got stuff for the kiddos. If you've got a kid, niece, nephew, whatever, go buy some t-shirts, hats, whatever for those kiddos. Have some fun. And last but not least, you can support us over here at Twitch. If you're watching at twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys, you can support us for free. If you have an Amazon account, in fact, if you have an Amazon, I guess specifically an Amazon Prime account, you can link it to your Twitch account and get one free Prime Gaming sub each and every month. You have to remember to re-up it. It doesn't do it automatically, but if you are on our channel right now, you can, down at the bottom, it should say, if you've done it before, it'll probably say resubscribe. If you've never done it before, it'll say subscribe. You click on that, check the little box that says use Prime Gaming sub, and it costs you $0. We get the kickback from that. What is it? Subs are like $6 now. We don't get the full $6, but we get some money out of it, the deal. We get that money, and you get ad-free viewing. You get access to the emotes, and you help support our channel. So think about that. If you haven't used that this month, think about using it on twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys. We'd very much appreciate it. That'd be awesome. All right, and with that, let's get back to the show. All right, Adrian, it's time for you to answer the age-old question. They've been asking this question since the beginning of time. Sitting around campfires, chasing dinosaurs, crossing the oceans, and plundering pirate ships.
Going into space, landing on the moon.
Space, yeah. What you playing?
All to ask.
All to ask what you're playing. What you doing, Adrian? What are you playing over there?
Oh man, so my travel buddy this week has been the good old reliable PlayStation Portable.
Ooh-wee.
Been just dipping in and out of different games. I feel like I've been playing God of War, Chains of Olympus pretty heavy. I haven't played it in a very long time, and I just decided, you know what? Got my little UMD right here. Why not just pop it on in,
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I'm not gonna go on another PSP love, you know what I mean, tirade. Everybody knows I love PSP. I think PSP is amazing. It's amazing hardware. It's amazing concept.
It's very
the
good.
fact that they were able to get it, you know, where it is, and I think it's also squandered potential that they could have picked up with Vita. But anyway, so that God of War is so, like, classic God of War is so good, and I feel like it's just been thrown by the wayside because 2018 and Ragnarok have come out, but I feel like those games still have a place, and I really like those two mobile or like side games, because I feel like they give a lot of exposition and lore into Kratos that we don't necessarily get outright in the larger games.
Yeah,
I feel like they explore a whole lot more into Kratos as a character, versus us just getting moments of it in the larger games, and I really appreciate that. And those are also directed by Cory Barlog, which explains why we get such good writing and character development in those games. And I think they're really underappreciated, and it's a really good answer to people who see Kratos as just this one note rage monster character. It's like, no, if you play these kinds of games and you really get a chance to see, you know, Kratos the man, and really like that.
I remember I never played them, but because I never played any of the God of War games until 2018. That was my first exposure to God of War. But I remember before playing it, watching like a bunch of like videos, basically like, all right, here's the whole story, starting with like going through all the games, watching those like 30-40 minute long videos, just like diving deep on who Kratos is, what's everything he did. And like I kind of, without even playing the game, I 100% get what you're saying. Like as soon as they would talk about Chains of Olympus and like, whether it's the mobile games, you know, the more handheld games, stuff like that, it's always like, okay, this is a lot more being revealed here than just like, I'm angry, whoa, smash, you know. It's like, oh, there's so much more humanity and just heartbreak to this character. Very, very, very good. So, that's awesome. And that you're playing it on original hardware. I love that, pulling up the UMD. So I have a PSP.
10 times out of 10, dude.
See, I have a PSP, but all of my games are, the only physical game is Portable Ops, Metal Gear Portable Ops. Because we played it for the Super NPC Radio book club that I did with them. But otherwise, it's like everything's just digital for me, and I kind of miss it. The UMD is so fun to pop in there.
There's such cool it's such cool media.
It's very cool.
Does it take a while to load? You know, judging by today's standards, sure. But I'm also old, and I remember it having to take that long, so it wouldn't bother me as much as like if I like GTA, right? GTA is notorious when you first started up to have to wait for it to load. Can you imagine telling a child who is used to the PS5 and the Series X and their SSDs that you have to wait a literal minute for the game to load all its files? They would be over it before you even handed it to them.
Lose their minds.
You know? But
that's like the first time. That's like the first time I fired up Red Dead Redemption 2. On PS4, and it took like 5 minutes to load. I'm like, what is? Even I was like, all right, this is excessive. At first, I'm like, this is fine. This is a big game, and then it finally loaded up. I'm like, holy smokes! But it's true. Like we grew up with that. We're used to that. We're kids today. We're like, I'm out.
There's no way. But I say all that to say, you also forget that this is like a literal disc that needs to be read, and it needs to have, you know, the data extracted and man, PSP rules. But like that's the main game I've been playing, and then I've been jumping in and out of stuff. Like I've done a little Ridge Racer, a little Mega Man, a little Tekken. You know, just a nice smorgasbord of different genres to kind of keep myself, you know, not entertained and challenged. You know, no one game is like another. So just shout out to PSP for being great.
That's so good. So good. I love it.
But that's what I've been playing. Mr. Morlang, you've made an accomplishment recently. You wanna share with the class?
Oh, do I want to share? I have completed Well, technically 90% of the game, but I finished it. I rolled credits. I rolled credits on Hollow Knight. That's right. I'm a real gamer. I am real gamer. All this time, I thought I was bad at video games. But in reality, I just hadn't found the right video game. That's all it was.
There it is. I wish I could have seen your face when you had to lock in to like fight the final boss. I know you were like sweating a little bit.
Oh,
you were hunched over in the gamer hunch, just like in the zone. I'm not blinking, nothing.
It says, this is like totally this tunnel vision just
right
on my screen. It felt so good. So the last I'd updated was basically I got to the final boss battle and I tried to fight him and just got destroyed. And then I realized, oh, I've only found like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 charms out of the possible 40. Barely had any upgrades on my health bars, on my souls containers, and my charm slots. So not only did I not have all the charms, but then I could only equip like a couple charms, and then my slots were filled up. So I had to find more slots so I could equip more charms. So I'm like, all right. So I got to town. I downloaded an app. That's how serious I was. I downloaded an app so I could track everything, not to help me find it, but just to track it. So I could keep track of like a checklist. All right, I found this one, so move on to the next one. I found this one, move on to the next one. Found this one. I just went through this checklist, found all the charms, found a bunch of health bars, found a bunch of the soul pots, found all this stuff. Like I took this very seriously this past week. And then I think it was Saturday, I finally got down that I think I had everything at the beginning of the week, like Monday or Tuesday, like basically like when we recorded last week, I had all this stuff or was well on my way to have it, but I just didn't have the conviction at all during the week to get up and do it. Like I kept looking at my Steam Deck and I'm like, I don't know.
I can do it right now.
Well,
I
no,
don't feel it.
It was like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know. Maybe this is a game I just got to hang up and just admit defeat. And finally Saturday, I'm like, I'm going to try it.
That thunderbolt of inspiration struck you.
I was like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. I'll give myself like 10 tries. Because it takes a few tries just to like figure out the general
learn
gist
the patterns,
of, the pattern of the boss fight. It's the final boss fight. I'm like, this is it. And no joke, I got it 3 tries. Third try.
Woo!
I was
locked in.
Oh my gosh, it was insane.
Locked in.
It was incredible. First of all, I'm like, it's incredible that, hey, if you have all the tools they provide for you in the game, it makes the game a lot easier. And then, yeah, obviously, like 2 times it took to kind of like figure out the patterns. Like, all right, here's what we're doing. Figure out all the different attacks, how to counter them. And then, yeah, it was honestly a spectacular dance. Like, I wish I was streaming it or had it recorded, because it was very uncharacteristic of me. Like, I'm not a good gamer. I'm not good at games generally, but the way I was dodging and moving and using like the abilities, I'm like, what is happening? Like, I'm possessed right now. Like,
Who am I?
Wild. Like, I was so locked in. It felt so good. It was almost like hard to believe. And there's so many phases too. A lot of the boss battles only have like 2 phases at the most, maybe 3, but usually like 2. This guy had like so many phases. It just kept going. Like, he kept doing like this roar, like roar, and like that's what you knew you were going to the next phase. And I'm like, oh man, here we go.
What is he gonna do now?
And then finally he does one last roar, and I was like, not another phase. But then I realized, oh, I can't move. Like the camera kind of shifted, and like it was a little bit different. I'm like, wait, I just beat him. Like, the shock was just like, I did it. I can't believe I did it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. It felt so good, dude. It was spectacular. So it was a moment. It was a moment, and it felt.
Now I have to ask.
Yes.
Having finished Hollow Knight, what's your thoughts? How do you feel about it overall? Does it live up to the hype? Does it deserve the level of esteem that it seems to have across The zeitgeist?
Yeah, I think it does. For me personally, I don't know if it edges onto any sort of like top 10 list. Like we just recently did our top 10 favorite games.
Because friend of the show, Eddie, you would think that this was the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, this is up here. I forget what number he put it at, but this is like one of his favorite games.
I think
was it number 1 or 2?
I wouldn't be surprised if this is his favorite game of all time.
Well, we did that episode with him over on Super NPC Radio, and I can't remember which one he put it on. It
left my brain.
It was up there, but yeah, for me, I don't know if it would, because like those games that are on my top 10, like those are some killer games. I got that for me personally. Like I very right. Some of those have like so much nostalgia tied to it. Hollow Knight though is very, very, very good. I mean, I've already kind of talked about this along the way, but kind of to put a final bow on it, the environmental storytelling is incredible. The little characters you find along the way, and a little story. It almost felt like an Elden Ring when you stumble upon some random person, they tell you a little bit of lore. Like the same thing in Hollow Knight, you find these little bug creatures, and they're just like giving you little bits and pieces of history or what they're up to or what's going on in the world and stuff like that. The soundtrack is just gorgeous. Like I listen to that in the car. My kids love it too. Like my Shep was even like, Dad, that's that, because he saw the little artwork on our screen. We have like a CarPlay in our car, and he's like, that's from the game. That's from the game you were playing. I'm like, yeah. He was watching me play it, a lot of it. So he's like, oh, I love this. He's like, this music's so good. I'm like, yeah, it is, son. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is, my boy. Yeah, it is.
So soundtrack is great. The storytelling, again, which is interesting because it's like I like a direct story, but this had very much like a very obscured kind of environmental and like little conversations here and there. It played well with the story it was telling in the world. The different biomes and worlds, the design of the game is incredible. Like the enemies, the art, everything about it, just top tier. I would probably give this like a 9 out of 10, honestly. Okay. It's a great game. Like it's up there. I don't see it as perfect. Eddie, I think, would be like, it's a perfect game. It's incredible. Because again, I think a lot of that comes down to it's designed to be replayed over and over and over and over again. Like you can, like technically, even though I finished the game, I could go back in. There was my completion screen. I only completed 90% of the game. There was still more items I could find. And there is a couple more bosses I didn't fight, like optional bosses. And there's different modes that you can play to make it harder. So it's a game that's designed to be played over and over and over again. There's a huge speedrunning community that's into speedrunning it. It's a whole thing. So I'm not into any of that. But I totally get like, oh, that's why people love this game so much, because it is something you can play completely different, kind of like a Breath of the Wild. All right, this time I'm going to go right instead of left. I'm going to go up instead of down. I'm going to go to this different biome. You can play it
just see what happens
any way you want. Yeah. Very, very cool design. So great game. Highly recommend. It's hard, but if I can beat it, you can beat it. Trust me.
Fair.
Trust me.
Are you looking forward to Silksong now? Does this pique your interest in Silksong? Or are you like, I've had my Hollow Knight, I'm good?
If Silksong ever comes out, I will definitely give it a try. I'll definitely jump in and play it. I am not like oh my gosh, I need Silksong now. After playing this, I can't, like, I need more. Like, no, I'm fine. I've had my fill. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I'm excited about the idea of Silksong now, especially with the character that, like, because you briefly meet this character a few times and throughout Hollow Knight story, so it would be cool to get more of that character's story. But I'm not champing at the bit for it. So
okay, I was just curious.
Yeah. So yeah, very good game. Go play it. It's good. And what I decided to fire up, I'm like, all right, I played like 2 really hard games. I went from a FromSoft game playing Armored Core 6 to Hollow Knight, which is just incredibly difficult as well, up there, almost on the same level as a From Software game in a lot of ways. So I was like, I need something a little lighthearted, something a little easier, something a little laid back, and something I've never played before. Again, the last 2 games, or maybe even more, maybe last like 3 or 4. No, that's not true, because I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The last 2 games, though, Armored Core and Hollow Knight, were both games I'd started before, played before, and I just finished. You know, they were in an incomplete state. Now they're complete. I was like, I need something fresh and new. So I jumped into the new game. It just came out like a month or so ago.
If that, I think.
Read Only Memories Neurodiver.
Woo!
Ooh,
baby
indeed.
Woo!
This is a prequel technically to 2064 Read Only Memories. Is that right? Like in the timeline, and not necessarily story. Like from what I can tell so far, the story doesn't necessarily connect, but in the timeline of the world, I think it is a few years before, right? Or is it after?
I think it's after.
Oh shoot!
Because characters.
No, yeah, you're right. Now that I think about it, because I just, as I said the name of the game, it hit me. 2064 takes place 2064. This one takes place, I think, in 2070. So this
2070. And there are, I can see how you would think that, because there are events in the game that you've already played that do take place before any of this. So it would make sense.
Right.
Why you would take that guess. So
I had forgotten when the first game took place, which is dumb because it's literally in the name. It's literally called 2064. And as soon as I said the name, I'm like, it's not a prequel. It literally takes so the sequel to 2064 Read Only Memories. But yeah, a lot of the game. So you're a neurodiver. You've been playing this game, so you can help me out with this description. You already know this is more for the listener. You are you're a
mind detective, basically.
Yeah, a mind detective. You can go into people's memories using this little. So you're an Esper, which is a person with ESP abilities, and you can basically connect mentally with this other creature, which is also an Esper, but like in a different form, from what I understand. And this creature like latches onto a host, and then you can get inside their mind. And so far, your abilities are being used to solve mysteries. Like there's literal mind warfare is happening where people's memories are being corrupted. And generally with very important information, for it's a whole thing. I don't want to spoil any of it. Like it's a really cool mystery, so I'm not gonna even spoil any of it. You all guys should all go play the game. But yeah, things are happening, and with some, they're not technically android parts, right? What is it? What's the now I'm forgetting what they call those.
Which ones?
The robots, they don't consider, or no, they do consider them. They consider them androids, but they're not considered cyborgs, right? That's because they're made from. It's hard confusing. Just go play the game. I don't know. It's not confusing. It's just hard to explain. It's not confusing. It's just hard to explain. They
without giving it away.
Yeah, without giving stuff away. No. There's some really cool crimes, interesting crimes happening, a lot of it taking place in the mind, and then you're having to delve into these memories, into the mind, to literally reconstruct memories, solve the mystery, fight against this possible entity in this different realm, not your typical physical realm. So it's really cool. I'm only a couple chapters in, so I don't even know much what's going on either. I'm still learning, but this has been a cool experience. I know it's probably not a very good description of the game, but it's
just trust us. Okay.
Yeah, it's so if you want to understand to back up a lot, like the game, it's a point and click adventure. It's really kind of a graphic, like a visual novel. It's kind of like a point and click visual novel, where you're a detective trying to solve these mysteries. The first game was the same too. Has incredible pixel art style, like gorgeous pixel art style, incredible color palettes. The soundtrack is top tier. That's another one. That's another one I listen to. Yeah, that's another one I listen to in the car. My kids love it. And yeah, it's just like kind of you're just along for this ride of this incredible mystery you're trying to solve. And I love it. I don't know, not all people initially. I think people can be turned off by a whole point and click, and like visual novel type thing, but I don't know. There's something about this one that's just like,
honestly, just such a good story. The way that if you have a problem with visual novels, this one is actually fully voiced too.
That too.
I know for a lot of people, that's the big thing, is like, oh, I have to do so much reading. But honestly, because this one is voiced, it can feel more like a TV show or like a movie that you're watching. So if you take it in that realm, and just let it play like that, I think you might have a much better time with it than you would expect to.
Yeah, it's like an interactive movie or TV series. Exactly.
Yeah.
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 It's very good with a really great story. Like it's such it's the first one. Oh man, go definitely play 2064 Read Only Memories first.
One of
You
my
have to play
all-time
that.
favorite games, dude. Oh my God.
We did a book club on that. So if you do play it, go listen to the book club. Like it was such a phenomenal game. And then with this one, the sequel, I'm like, oh,
I play that game like once a year.
They're doing it. I don't know. For some reason I was worried. I'm like, how could they ever live up to the first one? I'm like, they're doing it. They're doing it.
It's the same team.
They got it. They're doing
You're not worried about them.
Yeah, it's good. So go check it out. Read Only Memories Neurodiver. I think it's available everywhere. I have it on Steam.
Yep.
So I've been playing on my Steam Deck,
Switch.
which on OLED. Oh, it looks so good on OLED on my Steam Deck. Love it. Very good. And that's it. Thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you stopping by, whether it's here live on Twitch or on YouTube while we're dual streaming here. We appreciate you. Or if you're catching us later on podcast services around the globe or youtube.com/supergamerboys. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We appreciate you. And would love it if you follow all of our channels, follow us on Twitch, follow us, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on all your podcatchers. It helps, boost those numbers a little bit. When numbers get boosted, then those respective platforms will boost us and we get seen by more people and it helps a lot. So like this video, subscribe to the channels, follow the channels, whatever it is, please do it. And thank you to all those who have and do. If you really love what we do and want to help us make more of it, think about supporting us over at patreon.com/supergamerboys. Throw a few dollars over there. We'd appreciate it. You get some stuff. There are perks all along the way. Each of those 4 tiers. Think about supporting us there. And we'd appreciate it. Helps keep this train a-rolling. Keeps the lights on, keeps the mics on. You can also support us by going over to sgbstore.com. You buy some sweet merch, as we talked about earlier in the show. Remember, Summer Gamer Boys. We got some cool t-shirts. Adrian loves his. I love mine. My kid loves his. Shep wears his as much as he can. It's so funny. He'll wear it for multiple days, and finally my wife's like, we have to wash it.
You can't do this anymore. You cannot. I see the stink lines coming from that shirt, kid. It's over. And
as soon as it's out of the dryer, it's back on him. He loves it. So if you got kids, we got kid sizes. So go check it out. They love it. Rate and review us where you can, whether it's Apple Podcasts, over on Spotify. We'd appreciate that. Shout out to Jack Sriracha, Yate, and DJ Trooz for allowing us to use their music on our show. Make sure to go look them up on Apple Music and Spotify. Links will be in the show description. One day they might be on Twitch if Lula ever, gets around to working for once. I don't know. No, just kidding. She's in the chat doing stuff right now. We appreciate you. Oh, she's angry now. Let's move on. Oh shoot. You can find us during the week over at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at gmorlang. Adrian, where can the fine folks find you at?
You can find me any and everywhere online at Homeboy.
Oh boy. The real Dan's in the chat. He wants us to play games with them later. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. I'll keep you posted, brother.
We'll see.
You got to give me a little more. You got to give me a little more runway than that.
It's been a minute since we've gamed with Dan and Boba Fletch over there.
Yeah, Nate. Yeah.
Been a minute. We'll see. But with that, that's all I got, Adrian. Go ahead and take us out of the show.
Sure thing. Folks, thanks for hanging out with us for another episode of the Super Gamer Boys podcast. As always, and as Garrett has said, we appreciate you hanging out with us in any forms of support, whether that be here on the live stream, watching with us live, checking out the VOD content, supporting us through merch. Like I said, Super Gamer Boys, Summer Gamer Boys is still going on strong. We got some really, really nice stuff. Really nice stuff in this here summer lineup. And some more stuff to come. So keep your eyes out for that. Even if it's just telling somebody about, hey, I ran across this gaming podcast. I think you might really like it. It all helps and it all adds up. And we appreciate you for it. So until next time, we'll see you around. And we are the Super Gamer Boys.
And we'll catch you on the flippity flop.
That was a little That was a little direct right there. All right, okay, Batman. We'll catch you
on the flippity flop. Rachel!